I'm Dr. Gulanes, the Secretary Manager of the Health Center. And I will be talking about the program and services of the rehab. And then we would like to, first is the presentations of two things. First is what is drug addiction is all about, so that you will know why is it that we have to give intervention to them. And then later on, that's the program and services of the rehab. That includes the education component. Studies have shown that drugs, there are a lot of effects of drugs. First is it can lead into addiction, and nowadays drugs addiction is considered as a brain disease. It has been known that World Health Organization, the Department of Health, classify addiction now as a brain disease beyond any reasonable doubt, because there are a lot of things that will happen inside your brain when taking the drugs. And there are also medical conditions that leads also associated also with drugs. It can lead into neurotoxicity, meaning it can damage the nerves. I will show you some slides later on what are the effects of the drugs inside. And then there is also association of drugs between drugs and HIV/AIDS. Studies have shown here in the Philippines there are 2,007 HIV positive secondary to intravenous drug use. And then 99% of them nasa region 7 in Cebu, because in Cebu kasi rampant yung gamit na injectable drugs. That is why some of them can develop an HIV infection. And there is also association of drugs to cancer. Hindi totoo na marijuana can cure cancer. There are studies have shown na marijuana can lead into testicular cancer in male. So mas malignant form of cancer pa. So hindi totoo yung sinasabi ni Mark Anthony Fernandez when he was apprehended na yun sila ang pag-prevent ng cancer. And the studies have shown also that drugs can also lead into mental illness. We do have a lot of patients that can develop the mental illness na buwan na because of drug use. So, sa ngayon pa lang, sabihin ko sa inyo na the rehab center will not cater to mental illnesses secondary to drugs. Doon muna sila ipadala sa mental hospital. And then there is also association between drugs and social services. It can lead into homelessness, and to support the vices, they will lead into crime and violence. And then there is also association of drugs to economic low productivity, healthcare, magkasakit sila, and then they are also prone to accident. Next one. So what is drug addiction? Nasabi ni Duterte, what is drug addiction? Next. Drug addiction, sa mention kanina, sa brain disease beyond reasonable doubt, expressed as a compulsive behavior that they continue the use of drug despite of negative consequences. Some of them nagka-develop na ng sakit but still they keep on using the drugs. Some of them get apprehended because of drug use but still they continue using the drugs. Yung iba naman, may mga problema with the family, some of them recommended to their family na stop using the drugs but still they continue using the drugs. So yun sila classic example na get addicted to the substance. And it is a chronic and potentially relapsing disorder. Although na-treat na sila, some of them will go into relapse. That is why you need another treatment na naman. It is considered as a brain disease because drug changes the brain. They change its structure and how it works. And these brain changes can lead into a long-lasting and ano ang mga function ng itong myelin sheath? They are responsible for the transporting of communication from one nerve to another. So it can damage, no, the myelin sheath will be damaged. So what will happen? It can decrease the IQ of young individual by 20%. And then yung cognitive function nila will also be affected. The way they analyze things, the way they can see what is right and what is wrong will be affected. That is why some of them nagiging hook sa drugs, and then some of them ay na pumasok sa eskwela. They lose interest in going to school because the brain is affected. Ito yung epekto nila, kanina yung neurotoxicity. Next one. Ecstasy also can damage the nerve terminal, especially the cerebellum. So ito ka-damage ng ecstasy, no? Nowadays, dami na gumagamit ng ecstasy tablets. Click on. Yung price ng high technology. Sometimes magkakamsel. Yung dati kasi gamit ng ito anti-maxel. So flip chart, sa mabilis. But this time around, with this technology, pag mag-hang siya, you have to wait. So, pinapakita ko sa inyo the effect of methamphetamine in the brain, alcohol, the marijuana, and ecstasy. It can really damage the brain. That is why when we show this to those who are drug users, some of them will ask them, are you going to stop using the drugs? Some of them will say, no, continue pa daw sila gamit ng drugs. Meaning that's the classic example of an addiction. Despite of negative consequences, they still keep using the substance. Alam na nilang mga kasila, papakita sa kanila, but still they keep using it. So it's like ecstasy can destroy the terminal, the nerve terminals. Next. So it can lead into obliteration of the brain neurons, the neurons of brains. Next. Pag madamit sa yung nerve terminals, ito yung classic example pag madamit sa yung nerve terminals. Nakahang ka. You cannot know what, the next step, anong gawin mo, next step, wala na. So, totally blackout yan. Those are also the effects of some substance use. Napa-blackout sila, no? When they develop some blackout, wala na. Pati mga memory nila will be affected. Makalimutan nila what happened. Especially nowadays, no? Meron na din mga lab drugs na proliferating here in the Philippines. Yung tatawag natin liquid ecstasy. So, ihalo nila yun sa drinks, drop lang. Pag ikaw, babae ka, nakatake ka noon, wala ka na. No? Makalimutan mo na what will happen. Ito yung ginagamit nila sa gang rape. Halo sa inumin mo, then pag after makatake ka, wala na. So it is why it is very rampant in Manila. Ang dami na uhuli, apprehended because of the liquid ecstasy. They are selling it just like sa parang energy drinks. And then i-mix nila sa food mo o sa drinks, then wala na. So yun sila, magkahang ka na, and then anybody can do whatever they want sa iyo. So yun sila common reason kung gagawin. So, and then memory loss, you don't know what will happen the night before or pagka-umaga, hindi mo na matandaan what happened kagabi. So it can lead into things like developing loss of appetite, mood will be affected, your mood and emotions, and then click them out. Develop and loss of appetite, and then inability to sleep also. You cannot go to sleep, so some of them will be affected. And then the worst part, because of the obliteration of the nerve in the effect of ecstasy, it can lead into depression. And because of the depression, some of them will develop committing suicide. It's a classic example. So we do have a lot of cases na nagka-develop ng suicide because of too much depression. Doon itong epekto ng ecstasy. So madamit sila, your mood will be affected, and then will be developed in depression. That's a classic example of the effects of ecstasy. Sa Asian countries, it is the most common admission nila sa mga hospital because of sudden loss of consciousness brought about by overdosage of ecstasy. Because yung ecstasy kasi, in the tablet form, ang epekto nila to can last for only 4 to 6 hours. After 4 hours, pag wala na yung effect, they took another tablet just to sustain the effect. So, it can lead into later on to overdosage. That is why it is very dangerous also. It is very risky. And then when you mix it with other substance like alcohol, the more it can lead into more severe reaction to the body. And so mentioned kanina na pag madamage yung nerve, then it can lead into mood alteration, especially depression. The most common gumagamit ito are young individuals. Kung napansin niyo last 2 to 3 years ago in MOA, di ba may concert doon sa MOA? It is a close-up concert, rape parties, and then 5 of them suddenly na-collapse and namatay. When the autopsy was conducted, as if daw yung tao nakainom daw ng explosives. All vital organs in the body parang naiitim daw, and parang pumuputok, explode doon, explode. Para daw nakainom sila ng explosive. It is brought about by the use of ecstasy plus with halo ng methamphetamine o shabu. And then one of the effects nito is it can lead also into severe sweating, and then can lead into damage, dehydration, and then madamage yung kidney. Madamage yung heart, at yung brain, yung kidney, and the liver. So that's why multiple vital organs damage. So ito yung mga common may epekto na. So mga common itong mga club rock sa mga rape parties, no? Kasi because it produces some psychomotor agitation na ma-relieve lang by dancing. That is why ideal talaga ang may ecstasy of club rock sa mga party-party. Then, may mga kausap kami na drug users in Manila, sa rehab centers, and then some of them sabi na there are places in Makati that are selling mineral water lang. And then, the mineral water costs only 1,500. Yun lang mineral water lang. They're selling mineral water, but everybody is enjoying or partying all night until 2 o'clock in the morning. Because at the bottom of the mineral water, may ecstasy. Kung di may ecstasy, then you drink it with the water. So doon, enjoy na sila. Yun sila ang most common. And then, nag-proliferate talaga ang ecstasy sa mga club. Ubos ng computer mo. Okay, so ito yung sila pinapakita lang ng brains that alcoholic brain, cocaine brain, methamphetamine brain, marijuana brain, comparing ito na normal brain. So madami yung butas-butas para siyang cauliflower. So yan silang epekto na ng chemicals sa buta. Because brought about by the substance. And then addiction changes in the brain. Comparing it, yung non-addicted brains and the addicted brains, comparing the two. Yung non-addicted brain, napakalaki ng control nila. Comparing ito the addicted brain, napakalaki ng control. That is why, yung addicted brain, ang drive nila, they are always in the go, go, go. No, pero pag non-addict ka, ang drive mo napakaliit, then you can say no. Meron kang brain, ka-stuck ka. But an addicted brain, they are always on the go because of the pleasantness na pipili nila while doing their drugs. That is why treatment is essential. They cannot just quit. And that is why treatment is essential para sa lahat. And then we have to treat the whole person in the social context. Parang zigzag puzzle, natouch mo sila, and that's the treatment. And studies have shown na hindi lang basta-basta yung treatment. Pag bago ka pa, preventive education, counseling, mode of management. Pag occasional user ka, regular user ka, counseling and behavioral modification. But if you are already a drug dependent, then treatment and rehabilitation inside the facility. Pag nabuwang na, or chemically, mentally ill, chemical abusers na, they need psychiatric management and medical management. So ito yung aming Davao Rehab, it is not aming, but it is under the local government of Davao City, started with the mayor pa lang, that is the president for Duterte. Sabi ni Duterte, i-click lang mo isa-isa. What is the basic principle of treatment? Walang i-click lang, i-click lang. There's no need to know. So basic treatment is on the right place at the right time. The purpose of treatment is, kasi sila purpose of treatment is the right care, the right time, for the right person, the right time, and the right way. When President was running for, when the Mayor Duterte was running for President, we do have a lot of visitors, especially coming from Manila, because during the sorties nila sa election time, they keep on telling them na meron kami rehab in Davao, because it was branded already na pinapatay niyo yung drug addicts, but no, we have a drug rehab in Davao City. So, to confirm it, we do have a lot of visitors coming to Davao Rehab. And then yung pinapakita namin, we have a facility. And then Duterte is very kind to, especially sa mga young individuals at saka sa mga babae. So we have to, meron facility for them. Because the basic principles of treatment is, since it's a chronic relapsing medical condition, which is often associated with psychosocial instability, it should be treated. And then yung component of drug treatment is either residential or outpatient. Pwede pasok sa rehab o sa outpatient siya. And therapeutic modality depende sa therapeutic. We have a lot of mga modality, but 88% of treatment and facility here in Davao in the Philippines is utilizing the therapeutic community approach. And the therapeutic focus on the individual, group, and family. And the intensity is usually daily siya, per week ba, or hours in a day. So meron kami natawag na structured activities. And then studies have shown that treatment can work. If there are intervention provided to drug dependence, then the principle is it can work. Next slide. And then the goal of the treatment is enable the client to achieve a long-lasting abstinence and then reduce drug use and improve the client's ability to function and minimize the medical and social complications of drug use. And then the treatment outcome is reduction in drug and alcohol use, and increased personal and social functioning, and improvements in public health and safety with reduction of HIV and transmission of hepatitis C, and reduction of drug-related criminalities. And then the treatment depends upon the individual's chronic naman siya, is been using drugs for longer period of time, tapos severe ang kanyang severity of the addiction, and then magamit pa siya, multiple drug use pa siya, or isa lang yung nagamit ng drugs, and meron pa siyang psychiatric comorbidity, and then criminality, and then family and social supports. There are the factors that involve the treatment process. And these are some program components, multiple program components. Comprehensive services provided to the person, from financial, medical, social to influence educational and vocational. So, next slide. Ito yung mga program and services. No? Kung titingnan sila, ako rin niya is shepherd. Social services, home life, educational services, na ilan ko, sports and recreational, psychosocial, psychological, psychiatric, productivity, health services, or spiritual services, dietetics, and aftercare and follow-up. So social services usually it is conducted by the social worker, doing some collateral information, and then helping also the individuals with their problems in their families, and then to promote their interpersonal relationship para maka-adjust sila when they go out sa treatment. And then the residential home care, no, we provided the basic foods, clothing, and shelter. So kanya-kanya sila, isa-isa silang bed, and then they will take care of their own. Yes. And then educational, no, paggamit ko ano yung skills nila, improvement their skills, depende sa skills nila, that includes dancing. No? Hindi namin pinapakita yung resident because of confidentiality. That is why si Will Smith lang pinapakita, dancing. That includes yung mga skills nila. No? Kung meron dancing in meeting Cebu, meron din dancing resident sa rehab facility. Next slide. And then yung mga educational component niyan, no, mag-increase yung kanilang self-esteem and their chances sa kanilang employment. Okay. And then, also, meron din kami built-in, no, mga built-in schooling programs and vocational trainings. Naturuan din sila food processing, no, paano gumawa ng mga chorizo, tuna, mga boneless bangus, etc. And then may mga school, meron talaga kami built-in school program. Naturuan sila. Next slide. We tie up with the Department of Education para sa alternative learning system, non-formal education inside the area. And then we want basic literacy din. Those are not able to read and write while inside the facility, tinuturuan sila. So that when they go out, they know already how to read and write. That's part of educational component for and then, yung sa amin din, sa mention kanina, we tie up with their head, no? So meron kami non-alternative learning system sa non-formal education, and then ang DepEd, nag-send sa amin ng mga teachers para turuan yung mga bata. So last year, meron din kami mga 23 takers sa alternate proficiency test ng ALS, and then 100% yung passer. That's the non-formal education inside the facility. Next slide. And then as proficiency examination last 2017, no, we have 23 takers and then 100% yung passer namin. So, tuwang-tuwa yung mga parents ng mga bata because nagpasa sila, yung elementary, eligible na for high school, yung high school, junior high school naman, eligible na sila for senior high. Nagpasa sila. So, sa sports and recreational activities also, no, nakakatulong din sila sa kanilang discipline and improve yung skills nila. Next slide. Okay, that's what basketball gym also inside the facility. Next slide. And then we have also recreational activity just to break the monotony yung activity inside the facility. And then we have psychiatric and psychological services also. Next slide. No, so we teach them coping skills, no? Anger management, stress management, that's part sa coping skills nila. Next slide. And then we have a sheltered workshop, no? Provided sa kanila, provided. No? Tuturuan sila next slide. We tie up with TESDA, no? Tuturuan sila ng welding. So we have a welding machine inside the facility provided by the International Transport, and then yung TESDA nagtuturo sa kanila. Yung small NC1 pa lang. Next slide. And we have also making productivity, mga small things lang, no? So that when they go out, alam nila na meron sila mas skills sa kanila. And we have also medical services, no? Comprehensive medical services provided too. And the spiritual activities also. Next slide. We have Bible studies for those mga Catholics, tapos sa mga non-Catholics naman, we respect also the spiritual activities. Yes. And then we tie up also with other civic organization, no, to help us also with the spiritual activities. So open kami sa lahat ng congregation. But hindi lang yung evangelical, but more of economical services. Next slide. Next slide. And then aside from that, we do have also family therapy intervention as well as yung aftercare and follow-up. We usually involve the family in the treatment process because studies have shown the family will not get involved, chances of relapse is very high. So we are not giving only education to the residents, but we are also giving education to the family also, especially the effects of drugs, and what are the relapse prevention, and how to prevent the relapse, and then yung responsibility of the parents in the treatment process. So that's it. That's it. That's part. And then dietary management also, no? Studies have shown na nowadays, no, dapat yung dietary management sa mga recovery cases. Next slide. It should be high protein, high fiber, and high healthy fats. And then low sugar, low refined carbohydrates, at saka least caffeine, and then fewer processed food. Yun ang dapat recovery diet na. And then we have also vegetable garden for them. Sila nagtatanim ang ginagamit na sila pagluto. And as I mentioned kanina, yung aftercare and follow-up. When they go out from the center, meron aftercare and follow-up for a period of 18 months. And then family therapy, as I mentioned kanina, is also very important component in the treatment process. Educate the family. Next slide. So, ano yung mga concerns nila, then it must be addressed nila. Next slide. Just give them the information about the effects of drugs. Next slide. And in treating addiction, we need to keep an eye on the real target, which is abstinence and functionality in the family, work, and community. There is hope, no? People can do and quit any kind of addiction. And then because studies have shown that after 24 months of pure abstinence, makarecover yung brain. Yung after 1 month of total abstinence pa lang, hindi pa makaka-regain ng function ng brain. So nakita mo siya after 24 months, makaregain na yung brain mo after 24 months of prolonged and total abstinence. Na during the time of recovery, wala kang ginagamit na drugs or any form of substance na makarecover yung brain. Sabi sa kanina, there are a lot of things that will happen inside your brain, but after 24 months of total abstinence or prolonged abstinence, then makaka-regain function. Yan siya. Study, there's a saying that when you keep on saying that you are busy, then you are never free. When you keep on saying that you have no time, then you will never have time. When you keep on saying that you will do it tomorrow, then your tomorrow will never come. So if you have a problem on drug addiction, dapat now na mag-stop. Kung may kilala rin gumagamit ng drugs, dapat ngayon na, hindi yung bukas pa because tomorrow will never come. You advise the parents to bring them to the proper authority, for proper intervention. Baka sabihin nila, busy man kasi kami, no? So then, pagka-busy nila, then they will never free. Wala kasi kaming time, then they will never have time. So dapat ngayon na. Decide to stop using drugs, dapat ngayon na. So thank you for listening and have a pleasant afternoon.
Those who would like to ask questions, if there are some things that you would like to clarify with Dr. Gulanes' presentation. We have the microphone here, the center aisle. For those who would like to ask questions, please allow me to recognize you. The topic of Dr. Gulanes is all about the effect of the side effects and the misconceptions, emotions about drugs.